Jesus Christ, this one's bad. Welcome to today's video where I swear you hate me. You must hate me. There's no reason that I would have gotten this suggested to me so many times if you didn't hate me. And today we're going to be talking about Arcane Lineage. And before I even talk about the game, can we not address the title? We have to address the title. Arcane Lineage? I feel like there's like a flowchart for Roblox titles, and this bothers me way more than it should. But people are just like, well, there's a bunch of Arcane games out there, and Rogue Lineage, we'll just smash them together. Arcane Lineage, people will love that. And apparently they do. And I cannot for the life of me understand why. But I promise I'm not just cherry picking the title. This game is a total, complete, and utter dumpster fire, and we're going to be getting into exactly why. And to spoil the whole video for you right off the bat, it's because this is the worst new user experience on the history of the planet. It is the worst new user experience in a game I have ever played, and that is a very high bar, an extremely high bar. I didn't think it was possible for me to find a game that had such a bad new user experience, yet here we are. To put it simply, the game starts you in an opening cutscene where a god tells you that there's a bad god and you should fight the bad god. And then after that, you get nothing. It spawns you straight into the middle of a town, and you're just expected to figure it out. Well, let me correct that. You're not expected to actually figure it out. You're expected to go on the internet to look it up, which is bullshit, and I didn't do that. So fuck that. And if you've already gone to the comments to tell me, Eclipse, look it up on the internet. No, you should not have to look up on the internet how the game works. The game should be able to explain that to you. And just for the record, games do not need huge comprehensive tutorials in order to tell you how to play the game. The game description itself reads, "This game has little hand-holding and will be quite difficult. You have been warned." But here's the thing, as I said when I reviewed Deepwoken, there's a difference in difficulty between just look it up on the internet lol and actual difficulty. And forcing people to go and look everything up is not hard. It is not hard for me to open my internet browser and look up Arcane Lineage how to level up. That is not difficult at all. I can do that in 3 minutes. So by telling people absolutely nothing about your game, how it functions, how it works, or how you need to play it, all you're doing is gatekeeping people that don't want to go through the extra effort of looking it up on the internet. And who is that helping? Who's that for? It's funny because the game itself actually does a decent job at times at being able to showcase things in a way that you don't need a tutorial, but you can understand how they work. And by that, I can just reference the shops in the game. All of the shops have signs outside of them that have a clear visual representation of what they are. And if you don't know, you go into the shop with a sign on it, you talk to the NPC, and they'll tell you what the shop is for. Wow, what a novel concept. But that extremely simple level of here's how things work is absent for literally everything else in the entire game. Most notably, how the hell am I supposed to get stronger or level up? This should be the most simple thing in the world, right? Basically every game that I've ever played in the history of ever is able to easily portray to you exactly how you level up, whether it be through an XP bar or in-game prompts, you know, something. Arcane Lineage does not give you anything. I started out at level 1, and an hour later, I was still level 1. What the fuck am I doing? The entire time I played this game, I was smacking enemies with the default skill, and never learned anything else. And I promise you, that's not from a lack of trying, but as it turns out, every single fucking person that I talked to would simply tell me, hey, you're too weak, I'm not going to teach you, and then wouldn't elaborate further. Okay, well that's great and all, asshole, but I don't know how to get stronger or how to level up, so I literally can't learn anything from anybody. And then of course, I mentioned Rogue Lineage earlier, and of course, because it has Lineage in the name, we gotta have Perma-death. Why? Did you just see that another game had it, so you were like, maybe we can monetize that with character slots? Because I'm just so at a loss as to why anyone would think a game like this needs permadeath. Like seriously, it is so unbelievably pointless. I can't wrap my head around it. It is such a massive limiting factor when it comes to so many aspects of the game, most notably for me, exploration. Now granted, the map is horrendous. I just have to be flat out and say it. It feels very uninspired, it's bland, flat, boring. I just don't have much else to say that's positive. There's nothing that I can say that's positive. It's like the most cookie cutter map available with massive swaths of empty space that have nothing in it for no real reason at all. I don't know why these sections of the map exist if there's nothing in them. So when you couple the fact that there's these massive open areas that enemies can ambush you in at really any point, on top of the fact that if you want to heal yourself, at least at the very beginning, you need to run all the way back to town, yeah, you're probably gonna end up getting into 1 or 2 fights, maybe 3, and if you're not perfect, you're gonna have to go back to town to heal yourself. So you're basically tethered to the town and you can't get any further, because if you risk going any further and you die too many times, then what 0 progress you've made so far, because the game doesn't tell you how, is gonna get reset back to 0. What? Now, you remember how I just mentioned the fact that there are these massive swaths of empty land that have nothing in them? And how I mentioned how enemies can ambush you at any time? Well, Arcane Lineage decided to take a note out of Final Fantasy's book by making it so while you're walking through the wilderness, you just randomly get engaged by enemies. Just as a game mechanic, this isn't horrible. It's not great, certainly, and very, very archaic, but granted, it's not the end of the world. What is the end of the world is just how long it can take for enemies to spawn in. Seriously, I had moments where I was doing loops around the entire town and I just couldn't get enemies to spawn in for the life of me. And considering that everyone keeps telling me I'm weak and I need to level up, and I assume the way I level up is by fighting things with my one singular skill at level 1, I need to find enemies. But finding enemies takes forever, so I'm just wandering through the empty landscape, bored to death, not fighting anything. And it's sad because this is so easy to fix. I could fix this in my sleep. Guess what, guys? You have a running mode and a walking mode. So all you had to do was make it so that while you're walking, you have an increased chance of running into enemies. And not only that, but you could tell people that at the beginning of the game instead of leaving them completely empty with no information whatsoever. And then, wow, look at that. You have a way so that way you can keep the enemy spawns low if people are trying to explore, and then they can be higher if people are trying to grind. I came up with that in 2 minutes. 2 fucking minutes, guys. Oh my god. Speaking of enemies, let's talk about quests. Or basically the only quest that you can do. There's a little quest board in the middle of town that's set up by some sort of adventurers guild, and it will continuously spawn in the same sort of quests over and over again. You can read the quests on the board, which is kind of cool, albeit the resolution for this text makes it kind of hard to read. But regardless, you click on it and you can accept guild quests. So here's a quest where I need to go kill a bunch of slimes. Okay, how many slimes? Game doesn't tell you. Because why would it tell you that? That's not information you need to know, right? So fine, I go out, I kill some slimes, and I come back and I talk to the guy and I tell him that I want to turn in some stuff. And the guy tells me that I'm about halfway through the quest. Wait. So you're gonna tell me that the game is actively tracking my progress and knows how many slimes I need to kill, but I don't get to know that? Are you fucking serious? And no, don't you dare go into the comments and telling me, it's for immersion, Eclipse, it's for the immersion. Because are you gonna seriously tell me that the guild put up a poster with a reward and they were like, well, you don't get to know what the reward is and you don't get to know how many slimes you're gonna have to kill. Is that immersive? Fuck no! Not only that, but this jackass in the middle of town somehow telepathically knows exactly how many slimes I need to kill and how many I've killed? Was he following me around? No, he wasn't. This is fucking stupid. If I just knew how many I needed to kill in the first place, solved. If the game just told me how many I'd killed so far, solved. But no, if I want to know, I need to go all the way back and talk to this guy. And you know what? It somehow gets worse, because when you do finish the quest, you don't even need to come back here. No, it just pops up on the top of the screen. Quest completed, you did it. Now, does it tell you what you got out of the quest? No, of course it doesn't. I can't believe over 3,000 people are playing this. I can't believe over 3,000 people are playing this. What is wrong with over 3,000 people? I don't understand. I really, really don't understand. So, I mean, I kind of talked about it earlier. Everyone wants money for everything. Nobody gives you anything for free, which, I mean, is fair enough from an immersion perspective, but as a player, it sucks because the only way that I found to get money was by killing thieves. I already talked about the low spawn rates for all of the enemies and the fact that you can encounter slimes and stuff instead of thieves, and the thieves only drop 10 gold, with most of the things that you need to buy or would buy costing 50 gold. Not that it matters anyway, because I went to the weapons shop and bought both an old staff, which I assumed would be magic, and it wasn't, and I just hit people with it and it didn't do shit. And then I bought a sword, and turns out you just hit people with that, and that doesn't do shit either. So I've wasted my 100 gold on 2 weapons that seemingly do nothing for me. That's pretty awesome, you know, no worries. And at the end of the day, I spent over an hour. I remained at level 1 with 1 skill and made 0 progress. It just makes me have to wonder, are some people just so inept at game design that they don't realize that you're supposed to hook the player at the beginning of the game? Like, what's the hook here? Was it supposed to be the very beginning opening cutscene, which is just a light with some text? Because that's kind of intriguing, sure, but without any real engaging reason to continue to play, well, why would I? We're playing wiki Lineage here, where the game wants me to look things up on the wiki in order to play, but I have absolutely no inclination to even bother going on the wiki to begin with, because the game hasn't brought me in at all. I really, really just do not understand. That's what it comes down to. I don't get it. I don't know how people could make so many consistently awful mistakes when it comes to making a game under the guise of it being quote-unquote hardcore. We might as well rebrand these hardcore, no hand-holding games to wiki games, because if you try to play them normally, you just can't. It's like trying to play some of those old Atari games. You just can't. I can promise you that I went through this game trying my absolute best to understand what was going on. I talked to a mountain of NPCs, with every single one of them basically telling me absolutely nothing. A few people mentioned this cursed canopy area or something, and when I went over there, I fought something that I couldn't beat and it killed me. So, like, I'm done.